Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining our special live stream today. Let me just get my slides up here. There we go. So welcome. This is our live stream for introducing Solus Plus, the newest, latest, and greatest scan tool from Snap-on. So we have a very rich history of helping technicians diagnose the vehicles that they see in the base. Started all the way back in 1988. So what's that? 35 years ago this year, 1988, with the MT2500, affectionately called the red brick. I bet you some of you watching out there may even have one still, and I bet you it still works. They're just bulletproof, and you plug it in and it works. All the way through to 2019 with the last version of the Solus, which is the Solus Legend. But today, as I said, we're here to introduce the Solus Plus. Over 35 years, times have changed, but we still need a scan tool that's fast, easy to use, and gives all the information that you need in order to help you fix a car. And oh, by the way, scan tools from the brick to now, over 500,000 sold of that Solus line. And that legacy just continues with Solus Plus. So what is new? What's new about it? It's brand new, right? So what do we have? So first off, new industrial design. So if we think about any of the previous iterations of this Solus, it is the thinnest ever produced by Snap-on. So it's a much thinner case, easier to feel. New screen resolution, 1024 by 600, allows you to see actually more data on the screen because it's a higher resolution. So if you're looking at graphs, allows you to see more of that. Also has, of course, a ruggedized case. If you heard that video at the beginning, talking about, I feel if I drop it, it's not going to hurt it at all. It gets very, very rugged and should stand up to that shop environment. Dual band Wi-Fi, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. So that's important nowadays, especially since some internet service providers are offering just 5 gigahertz internet now. So we were able to work on both of those. New capacitive touchscreen, so it's going to scroll nice and smooth. So if you're used to maybe a Solus Edge or a Solus Legend, you have to tap on the screen and make it move up and down. Now it feels much more like a cell phone, that sort of thing. And also an upgraded SMX operating system. This is a military-grade operating system. The military uses it, as well as hospitals, things of that nature in a mission-critical environment. That's where we're going to use that SMX operating system. What else do we have? Well, it does have the fastest boot in the industry, 2 seconds. You press that power button and you are on a usable screen in 2 seconds, and nobody else can even come close to that. So I think that this thing it's a hot rod, if you want to think about it that way. It is crazy fast. Also, software upgrades over Wi-Fi. So now if you have a software subscription, you can just download it straight over the Wi-Fi, and you don't have to wait for your franchisee to come and deliver your new software when you want to get your software up to date. Also, new embedded training and support. So there's actually videos on the tool, embedded into the tool, to help you set up your Wi-Fi, set up your Altus drive for sharing files, sharing pre and post scans, and things of that nature. Also, the S button, the classic S button that we've had for a very long time, screen captures will upload to the Snap-on cloud, as well as those pre and post scans we talked about a little while ago. And it also internally is upgraded to support CAN FD and Ethernet within the tool as well. So Ethernet has been around for at least a few years, right? So we don't need a special cable for that anymore. And it's just built right into the tool. And then also CAN FD. So what is CAN FD? CAN FD is basically a newer version of CAN. So it works in a similar way. It's a network inside the vehicle, moves information around within the vehicle. It just allows more data to be transferred at a higher rate of speed. So with these complex cars we have, with more sensors, controls, and interfaces, we need more bandwidth. So that's where CAN FD came in. So as of right now, over in North America, we really don't have any cars really showing this right now. But rest assured that when they do, we are already ready, so to say. It's already in there, and it should be ready to go with a software update, and it'll be good to go. So you might be thinking, well, how does this compare to the last version of the Solus? How does it compare to the Solus Legend? So over-the-air software updates, that's a biggie, all right? So you don't have to hook it up to your franchisee's computer. You don't have to use ShopStream Connect. It just simply downloads to the tool and updates. As a matter of fact, mine just updated today because the 23.2.1 service release came out today. So mine just updated a little bit before we went live here. It is a 60% faster boot up time. I mean, 8 seconds or so on the Solus Legend is still pretty fast, but 2 seconds from a button press to the home screen. It's amazingly fast. 25% brighter screen is going to let you see outdoors. It could be a challenge on some of our older tools where you might not be able to see as well outside. So it is a brighter screen, makes it easier to see. And also 60% higher resolution, which gives us the same thing, allows us to see more on the screen and also allows us outside to be able to see it a little bit better as well. 400% more data storage. Now that sounds like, pretty huge, but it is 4 times the size at micro SD card in there. So instead of having 8 gigabytes, now we have 32 gigs in order to save any of the files that you need to save, your road tests, screenshots, pre and post scans, anything like that will be able to be saved much more on the tool. And of course, faster Wi-Fi with that 5 gigahertz, as we talked about before. Some internet service providers are only providing 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, so this just helps us out with that. Capacitive touch, as we said before, gives you that nice smooth scroll. You'll see that when I put the tool live up on the screen here. You'll see how smoothly that scrolls from top to bottom. Also, a quick access menu. So instead of having to go back to the home screen and logging out of the scanner to go in to maybe view previous files or maybe go over to OBD1 or OBD Direct or quick lookups or whatever, you're able to access that from the quick access menu that'll pop up when you hit the home button. Also, integrated support videos, as I mentioned before, help you set up your tool. It's going to walk you through how to set up the different functions on the tool. And then also built-in Ethernet and CAN FD right inside the tool, right on the chip. I don't need an adapter or anything like that. It's just ready to go right off the shelf. So that's what's new. Let's talk about how we're going to use this. So I talk a lot about workflow, having a good repeatable diagnostic workflow that's going to take me through all the way from I need to intake the customer, right? So the first thing we need to do is get the customer in, and either you'll do it or the service writer will do it, or whoever brings the customer in. We need to find out, well, what is the customer complaint? Then after we figure that out, we might want to take it on a road test to actually verify that complaint. So you can go and say it's a noise or it's not running correctly. You can go and take that road test, make sure that that actually is what's going on and that you can duplicate the problem. Then inspect, right? So I want to inspect the vehicle all around, see if I can find anything that might be causing the problem or other things the customer might not be aware of. And then we get to where the scan tool comes in. So we're going to start with a pre-scan. I want to check all the systems on the vehicle for codes and see what's going on with that. After that, I can then share that with my customer and say, okay, so here are the issues that were found on your vehicle. Here's how we need to approach it. Then we'll go through the diagnosis phase. We need to actually determine the cause of the problem, and we'll need information for that, like real world information that we'll get on the Solus Edge. Then we'll go through the repair, which is actually kind of a shorter part of the process. Usually it's the looking up the information, it's the scanning the car and diagnosing the car. Usually takes a lot longer than the actual hanging the part on the car, right? So we want to repair it, and then oftentimes we need to do some sort of a reset, relearn, recalibration to the vehicle after the repair is finished in order to make sure everything's working properly. And then of course we'll do a post scan after the fact, and that will allow us to show the customer, show our work, and say, all right, so here's what was wrong with it when it came in. Now we took it on a nice road test, we fixed the car, and here it is, clean bill of health, no codes left over. So I talked about having information, right? So on the Solus Plus, another new feature is the SureTrack landing page. So it gives me all the information that I need from SureTrack all in one place, all on one page. So it's easy to access, easy to get to, and it's going to be specific to the code that we're working on. And we can also switch back and forth between the different codes if we want to do that. And we'll see that in a minute when we go live on the tool. But this SureTrack information pulls from vast amounts of data. So 2.25 billion real world repair orders that it checks for complaint, cause correction, what fixed the car in the real world. Now, we have seen as human beings, we're not that great at understanding numbers when they get that big. It's like, yeah, a billion, okay, that's a lot. But it's a lot. It's 1,000 million. It's a really big number. So I did a little thought experiment one day. And I said, okay, so how much is 2.25 billion repair orders? If I were to print them out on one sheet of paper each, that's a really efficient service writer, but one sheet of paper each, and I laid them end to end, 8.5 by 11, US standard paper. That's over 390,000 miles of paper. It's a lot of paper. I don't even know if we have enough tape paper in the world. But that is enough. If we printed it out, we could circle the Earth at the equator 5 times. So go around 5 times. And then we can go to the moon. Then when we get there, we can go around the moon 4 times and have some extra paper left over with that. So that is a lot of information that we can pull from. So if you have a problem with a vehicle, more than likely that stuff is going to be available for you. So now let's go live on the tool where I'm hooked up to a vehicle behind me here. I just got to change my screens here 1 second. Just give me a second and I will change them up. So we're going to go live on the vehicle with the scan tool. So turn the camera off here too. There we go. All right, so I'll boot it up. 2-second boot up, automatically IDs the vehicle. Luckily, this doesn't take very long. Go through ID the vehicle. Comes in. I can add my technician's name just like before. And hit back and hit OK. All right, so now we can display fitted systems, so we'll do that. And we see all the different systems we have available on the vehicle. You see how smoothly it scrolls through there. We'll go to code scan, and we'll do that pre-scan like we talked about before. We want to make sure we're giving the customer, a health check as to their vehicle. I'm not going to add any additional missing information like the license plate, and we'll go through and we'll scan through all the different systems on the vehicle. Didn't take very long at all, did that? Almost there. So it looks like we've got a couple P codes, 3 P codes, a couple U codes for different data. And then code scan results are saved. So that, once again, like I said, it saves to the tool. Also uploads to the Snap-on cloud, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Scroll down here. We also have our OBD2 codes. You'll see there's 2 codes there and 2 in the permanent codes as well. So if I want more information on this P2111 code, for example, we'll tap on it. And then it is going to tap that SureTrack database, and it's going to give me some information. So the first thing it's going to give me on the top of the screen is going to be my top repairs graph. So that's going to be based on those repair orders, what was done, what was the most common thing that was done to this vehicle for that code. So looks like replaced throttle body is the #1 overall, also replaced throttle body gasket, and also there's some reprogram the powertrain control module. If I look, the vertical is number of times that happened. And if I look across, that is the mileage across the bottom. So it looks like most often it peaks at around 75,000 miles where we replace the throttle body. Now this one, if you had a keen eye before, says that it's 66,000 miles on it. So we're getting pretty close to that 75,000 miles where we may need to repair it, but we want to do some testing first. Scroll down a little bit more. It gives us the most common real fix for this problem. So it lays it out in a complaint cause correction format. So in this, it says the customer states the check engine light is on, connected the scan tool, found the code, throttle actuator control system stuck open, key on engine off. They used the scan tool to command the electronic throttle control motor open and close, and found the motor was responsive but erratic in this case. Inspected the throttle control motor connector and the terminals, found no faults. Visually inspected the throttle control motor wiring harness, found no faults there. Used a set of fused jumper wires to apply voltage and ground to the throttle control motor. Found it would move, but it was erratic. So just like when they tested it. These test results verify the electronic throttle control motor was faulty, and the electronic throttle control motor is integrated into the throttle body and is replaced as an entire unit. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So they replaced the throttle body, cleared the codes, performed a road test, and verified that it worked, and the check engine light didn't illuminate. So there's my complaint cause correction. Simple enough. If I wanted to find some more information, though, I can also go to my real fixes, which is the next tab. And it will give me information as well as if I have combination of codes. So if we look down the 4th one, I think I can tell, yeah. So the 4th one right here says P0123, 222, and 2111. Those are the 3 codes that I have on this vehicle, all in combination. So this might get me even closer. So check engine light is on, found P0123, P0222, and P2111. At idle, use the scan tool to command the electronic throttle control motor on and found the motor was unresponsive. Performed a visual inspection of the electronic throttle control motor wiring harness, found no obvious faults. Connected a test light across the electronic throttle control motor harness connector and used the scan tool to command the motor on. Observed the test light illuminated as the electronic throttle motor was commanded on, which indicated the motor harness operated properly. Used a set of fused jumper wires to apply voltage, found it was inoperative. These test results verify the electronic throttle control motor was faulty, and the electronic throttle control motor is integrated into the throttle body once again and replaced as a unit. So they replaced the throttle body, cleared the codes, performed a road test, and solved the problem. So that looks like it may be something to do with the throttle body on this vehicle. And we're around that mileage where it could be. Now let's go down. One more piece of information here is my troubleshooter. So if I go into troubleshooter, we can see we have a couple different tips here. So there's just a tip. I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but you can see that that's that tip there. And then there's another tip here, which is going to be more of the code set criteria. So it'll give you possible causes for it. So throttle position sensor, high resistance or shorted, throttle control motor issues in the middle there, throttle body assembly, etc. So it gives you a few places to check, a few things to look at. Now, if I wanted to go and check the other codes and find the information on those, I can simply scroll to the top, find the little drop-down menu, and these are all the codes that are listed on this vehicle. So I'll select the next one, 222. And we'll see that it refreshes and it changes the graph here. And it also will change the number one repair. If I go and switch again, I can go to the 123. We see the graph changes once again. The information down below changes once again. And I can read up through all that information. So I'll go back to the code scan. Now let's go into the engine module and see if there's any tests that we can run with some data to see what we have going on. So we'll hit engine. And then we can go down to different functions. So we have functional tests, system tests, miscellaneous functions. Let's go to functional tests first, see what we have. So AC compressor, injectors, variable valve timing, nothing there. So we'll go to system tests. We have the ETC throttle follower test. So what this is going to do for us is it's key on, engine off, and the ETC follower test actuates the throttle blade motor as the accelerator pedal is pressed. So normally, when you press the pedal with the engine off, it doesn't do that. But in this case, it links them together. So we'll see how the data reacts. So I'm going to hit continue. And it's going to go into this mode. Now we see at the top, there is a little button that is going to allow us to run the test or stop the test. So I'm going to hop inside the vehicle real quick. And we can see the data below too. We can see the pedal position sensor and the throttle position sensor. So I'm going to hop inside. And hopefully don't unplug the HDMI cord. There we go. All right, so I will go to run test. And then all I have to do is step on the throttle, release the throttle. Now, as we can see, if you look at the top two data, that is the accelerator pedal. And if we look at the bottom, that's the throttle position sensor. Now, the throttle position sensor is not moving at all when I press this. So in this case, that indicates that that throttle motor is not working right now. So we'll stop the test real quick. Get back out of the vehicle. And we can see the data right there with the test too, which makes it a lot easier to access. So I don't have to go looking in different places for both the data and the test at the same time. So all that is readily available. So I think we've got some good information just to start. So let's go back over to the computer, and now we'll see some other information we might be able to get, and we'll actually tell the customer what's going on as well. Let's flip back over to that. There we go. All right. Okay. So I'm back over on my computer, and I am loaded into the Snap-on Cloud, Altus Drive. So this is where our pre-scans will go. So let me refresh the page here. We should have a good pre-scan there. We should have a couple pre-scans, actually. There we go. There's the last one I did. So if I wanted to open this up, I can click on it, then I can click the system report, and it is going to show me what I found on the vehicle. So there's the VIN, there's the odometer, time created, all the information there. Oops, I clicked too much. There we go. Oops. Clicking too many things. There we go. Oh, it's Adobe working. There we go. There we go. All right. So I can scroll down. We see this is our customer friendly section of the vehicle system report. So we can see we got the vehicle information there. what needs attention here, what has no issues found. And if we go down a little bit further, we see we have our pre-scan here. It's going to detail what those codes are. There's the 2111, the 222, etc. Also checking those readiness monitors for us as well. So if I wanted to share this with my customer, I can simply click on this link and I can send it one of three ways. Now, if I have this on my phone, which I did, of course, it's on a computer, but if I had this open on my phone, I could send via SMS, which would be a text message. I could text it to my customer, or I can send it via email. So if I click on that, it'll open your default email program, whatever you use, and it will send a link in that. And then also we have copy to clipboard. So it would copy the link to the clipboard, and then I could paste it wherever I need to. Say I'm using like Gmail, Yahoo, maybe I'm using a shop management program where I can put it in as a note in there. That way that pre-scan will always be linked to my repair order. So lots of different ways we can do that. So let's say I talk to the customer and they say, all right, it is time to, I approve you going in a little bit more diagnostic time and actually diagnose this throttle problem. All right, so I got a pretty good direction already with the vehicle. Now I maybe need some repair information as well. So here I have ShopKey Pro. I have the vehicle already loaded in here, and I am going to do a search. But if we look down the bottom, I found this very interesting as I was checking this out today. So if we look at the bottom, this is also information from our SureTrack database. Now you see the first column is commonly replaced components. That is the top 10 things based on repair orders that have been replaced. So throttle body is number 7. We go over to most common codes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the top 10 are for the throttle body. We go over here, engine runs rough, that could be throttle body. Engine lacks power could be throttle body. Engine stalls could be throttle body. And if I look over here, what's the number one lookup that people have put in this search box up here? Well, it's the throttle body. So I'm thinking I'm probably on the right track. So let's click on throttle body there, and it'll do a search for me. I think my internet's a little laggy right now. There we go. So let's say we need to replace the throttle body. We'll click on that, and it will bring up my information. There we go. So you see we have our real fixes, top repairs, causes and fixes. This is all that SureTrack information as well. We also have some component testing information, component location, component operation. How about wiring diagrams? Remember how they spoke about applying voltage to the wiring to make it work. So let's pull up the wiring diagram. And one of the nice things about Snap-on's wiring diagrams, ShopKey or Mitchell, is there's a lot of exclusives with this. So not to go off on a tangent, but so see how I'm on engine performance circuit 5 of 5. So that means that that's where the throttle body lives. When I open that wiring diagram, you'll also see that I have highlighted wires. So it has pre-highlighted the wires in that circuit that I need. I can click on this. We'll dim the wires that are not associated with that circuit, make it easier to see. And then I can zoom in and take a look. So there's my throttle body, and there's pin 1, 4, 3, 6, 5, 2. So we have throttle position sensors. We have 2 signals there and a return. We have a 5-volt power supply for the throttle position sensors. And we have our positive and negative on our electronic throttle control motor. So were I to go do this, and I wanted to apply power, I would apply power at pin 1, which is the dark blue with gray. And then ground would have to be at the dark blue with light green wire. You would apply it, see if it opens, see if it closes. It kind of goes both ways, right? So we'd be able to test it that way. So that's some good info. And then if I can go to remove and replace, it's going to tell me how to remove and replace it so we can see what it looks like. There's a throttle body assembly. We can see how it's got a big motor on the side. There's a connector that plugs in there. And go down a little further. It's going to tell me how to remove it, how to install it. Need to change the gasket, of course, torque down the bolts properly. And then it also says use a scan tool and clear all faults and then perform the ETC relearn function. So I need to relearn this electronic throttle control motor after the repair is done. So we'll keep that in mind. All right. So that is, oh, and then if I want parts, we have parts and labor as well. I think it's going. Okay, parts and labor. We come down to throttle body and or gasket, remove and replace. Looks like it's 0.8 of an hour. It's kind of right in the front of the engine. You just have to take a few things off to get to it. Not terribly complicated. And then if I want the part, we have, it says item number 7. So what does that mean? So that actually has a parts exploded view diagram here. And number 7 is right here. So 7 and 8 is here. And then we also have number 9, which is the gasket. And if we can zoom in on that, we can see there's my throttle body assembly. So I can make sure I'm correct. I could add these to an estimate if I wanted to do so. The manufacturer's list price is $365. And then the labor, of course, like we said, is 0.8. So we could do that. All right. So lots of good information. The tool led me down this right path. I have some more information to do some testing. Now let's say that we did do said testing. We'd go in there and we would test the functionality of this throttle body. Now, just a little background on electronic throttle control before we go back to the tool. So most vehicles nowadays have electronic throttle control. They call it drive-by-wire. And what we have is we have the accelerator pedal, which is right here. And then we have the throttle body, which is right here. So we'll send signals from the pedal to the module. The module will make a decision how much to open the throttle. Throttle opens, and there we go. A couple examples of how that might look. So we have this older one, which is kind of an analog version. There's a throttle position sensor there. Those had common failures inside, carbon tracking on there. This is a newer style. It's kind of more of an encoder wheel that's in there. We can see we got a circuit board there. So that understands where it is. Common failures in these are going to be either in the circuit board itself or these gears, these reduction gears are all plastic. There's one metal gear on the motor and the rest of them are plastic. So we could have some breakage in there on the actual throttle motor itself. All right, so we can see an exploded view here. We can see how the throttle plate rod goes through. We have a shaft with the gear there, gear reduction cover. We got a motor that's reversible in there, and that's what moves the throttle plate open and closed instead of having a throttle cable like we used to have. All right, so let me go fix the car real quick. So I'm going to get my camera person ready here. So I'm going to go fix the car real quick. And let me get that up on the screen. Unlike last time. There we go. Got it up on the screen. All right. So let's go fix the car. So I would have, of course, tested it, went through all the things I needed to do, and then we would need to replace it. And once it's done, we'd simply plug it in. Now it's the car is fixed. So now what do we need to do? I'm going to come back over to the tool. And the first thing we're going to need to do is we need to clear code. So I'm going to go back to my complete code scan. I'm going to back up one more. And then you see we have clear all codes read by code scan. Click on that. And it said it'll clear all codes from the vehicle. Make sure the engine's not running. And it will go through and clear all the codes from the vehicle. It's going to take a second, cycling through all the different modules. We're down to the occupant detection, satellite radio, steering angle sensor, etc. Okay, there we go. It says all the codes have confirmed to clear. We'll hit OK. Now, I could do a code scan, but I know I also need to do a reset first. So I'm going to go back into my engine, and we are going to find in, I believe it's miscellaneous functions. ETC learn values. So that is a relearn for the throttle control motor. Now, if I replaced it, the resistance might be a little different. So the voltage might be a little different, and the computer needs to learn that. So we're going to go to learn values. It says DTCs will be reset, and that's fine because we don't have any anymore. Key on, engine off. It will learn the throttle position voltage and the accelerator pedal position. So we'll hit continue. Follow the prompts during relearn to either hold or release the accelerator pedal. So it looks like I need to get back inside the car again to hold or release the throttle pedal. Continue. Do not touch the pedal, whatever you do. Okay, now it says press and hold it to the floor. It must be to the floor. So mash that accelerator. I love how they put exclamation marks in there too, for emphasis. Release. Do not touch. I can hear it making a bunch of noise out there. All done, complete. So we always need to remember, if there's a problem with the vehicle, most things nowadays need a reset or relearn, some sort of recalibration done with it. So that was simple enough. Popped into the menu, follow the instructions, says to learn past, hit continue. And now the moment of truth. We would road test this, but we knew this was a working vehicle when it came in. So let's hit the code scan, and then we'll do a post scan and see what we got. I still have my 2111 code in there, so we'll have to address that in a minute. I think I got to do a key cycle. We'll let it go back through. Okay. So let's do a key cycle real quick. Okay. Pop back in the engine real quick. Make sure we clear the codes. And then we'll do another code scan. Refresh. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. So we should, by the time we're done here, have all green check marks, should have a clean bill of. Okay, code scan results are saved. Scroll down. Now, here's a good discussion point right here. So we come down and we get to the bottom and we see OBD2 permanent codes. So that is a function of OBD2. And what that means is no matter what I do, no matter how much I want to, I cannot clear those codes. You cannot clear those codes with a scan tool. What that is that is a function of OBD. And these are codes that will stay there until you take it on a road test, go through drive cycle, and it completes the test to pass those two codes. So this can be helpful though in your shop if you have a vehicle that somebody else worked on. Oh, they worked on it, they cleared the codes, or they disconnected the battery, whatever, and then came back. You can go down here, and as long as it hasn't run through the test and it still has the problem, that'll still be there. So I can use that and look at that and know what was going on with the vehicle before that. And then we see, of course, down here, there's 2 readiness monitors complete, and the rest of them need to be done because, of course, we need to do a road test. And I'm inside a shop in the studio, so I can't do that, but we'll do that later. So with that, that is my quick menu, by the way. I hit the home screen. I'm going to exit my vehicle now, and we are done. Back on the home screen. So let's pop back over to the computer and see what we got. There we go. All right, so now it is time for questions and answers. Let me turn my camera back on. Questions and answers. All right, let's see what we have. I bet you some of these are can't see the screen, can't see the screen, can't see the screen. All right, so we know that. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Let's see. All right, and then I also have another one. Let's see. So Josh asks, so is Solus Plus a new scan tool? Yes, absolutely. That's why we're talking about it tonight. He says, my distributor said they were getting rid of the Solus. So the Solus line as a name, not going anywhere. Like we said, we just released the Solus Plus. Solus Legend would be the previous tool. Solus Edge would be previous to that. So those tools are kind of, going away. Solus Ultra, no longer updatable, right? But that's a 12-year-old tool at this point. So yes, Solus Plus is the newest in that long line of Solus tools. So if you do have any questions and you're watching on Zoom, just use that Q&A function. Just look at the top of the bottom of your screen. Wherever your Zoom controls are, you should be able to see a little Q&A button. Just type in your question and I'll get to those. I know a bunch of you have been coming in throughout All right, and let's see. That's all of my YouTube channels too. Is hey, I can't see the screen. Tech 57 does say, is this tool better than the Zeus? So, way I would answer that is it's really horses for courses, right? So it's a matter of what capabilities do you need? If you need a scan tool that is a fast scanner and has functional test capability, bidirectional controls, excellent data graphing, things of that nature, then Solus Plus might be a good one for you. If you also need, say, things like wireless connectivity to the vehicle, access to wiring diagrams on the tool, access to a 4-channel lab scope ignition scope, that would be definitely more along the lines of the Zeus. If you want a PC-based tool, that's definitely the Zeus as well. So it's really just a matter of what do you need to see, or what do you need in a scan tool, right? And then Jeff Thompson says, seems to be faster than my Apollo D8. Yep, new processor, new hardware in there. It's going to function through the screens a lot smoother, a lot faster. Phil H says, why does Snap-on come out with a new scanner every 2 years or so? And I will say, they come out with a new scanner every year. So ever since I've been with the company, it's been a brand new scanner every year. And it's just a matter of, well, do you get a new iPhone every year? Does a new iPhone come out every year? It sure does. Because technology just keeps on changing. We have to keep up with all that technology that's changing constantly. It's every less than 6 months, I think it is that manufacturers add new features and functions to their vehicles. Flip over to Zoom. So Sergio asked, just purchase a Legend. Is that going to be out of date? It's not going to be out of date. Usually we support our tools for 5-10 years, somewhere in there. It just kind of depends on when the hardware kind of isn't able to run the software anymore. But yeah, definitely still a good usable tool for the foreseeable, at least 5-10 years, I would say, for that. So we got that. Let's see. Daniel asked, what are the differences between the Solus Plus and the Apollo? So with the Solus Plus and the Apollo, the difference is you're going to get, with the Apollo, you're going to get fast track intelligent diagnostics. So as long as you're on a software subscription or a data plan, you have access to the full breadth of the fast track intelligent diagnostics with TSBs, smart data, smart functional test menus, and the quick links to the service resets and relearns as well. So the Apollo adds additional software functions, screen's a little bigger as well. But if you're talking about the Apollo D9, it's going to be the same type of chip in there. So it has the CAN FD and it has the Ethernet as well. All right, let's see. Andrew asked, will the Solus Plus be able to do motorcycle diagnostics? Yes, it does. It actually has the function in there. All of our tools now have motorcycle functionality. Of course, you do need the adapter for whatever bike you're working on, but they do all have motorcycle capabilities now. Let's see. Oh, and Michael asked the same thing. So may I use the new Solus on motorcycles? Sure. I'm an HD Indy shop and primarily work on Harleys, but from time to time work on Indians and metrics. So yeah, as long as you got the right connector, you'll be able to do that. Let's see. Same screen size, Michael asks. So it is an 8-inch screen. So we so an 8-inch on a Solus, and 9-inch on the Apollo, and a 10-inch on the Triton. So we just kind of go up from there as we go. So it's an 8-inch screen. Josh asks, how does that compare to the Apollo? So I just answered that one a little later. Sergio says, thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. And Julie asked, does Snap-on have a Bluetooth OBD connection to the scanner? So on the Zeus Plus and any of the Windows tools really will have that Bluetooth wireless connection from the scanner to the vehicle. Now, I will say on the Solus, the Apollo, the Triton, all of those tools, they charge from the vehicle. So I've talked to some people with them and they say, oh man, I didn't even realize this thing came with a charger, because it's always charged because it charges from the vehicle. And another nice thing too is if the key's on, I plug in that scan tool, it boots up in 2 seconds, and then it's already IDing the vehicle. So there's a lot of pluses for not having that, for having that direct connection. Allows us to charge the battery and all that. All right, let's see. Jorge asked, can you show us how to check compression with the pressure transducer in scope mode? Go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Snap-on Diagnostics. There's a pressure transducer class that I did maybe 1.5 years ago. It's readily available there whenever you want to watch it, because this tool does not have a scope. Let's see. Michael, you pay for a subscription and you think you're not getting the most out of it, I'd say maybe talk to your franchisee and see what they can help you out with. Maybe Solus isn't the right tool for you. Maybe you need something with a little more, like an Apollo or a Triton or a Zeus. So definitely talk to your franchisee and see about what they can help you with. Let's see. Is it Josh asks, is it able to communicate and keep up with the fiber optics and the FlexRay that a lot of the modules are on now? Yep, absolutely. So really, it's the Ethernet is the fastest, and that we've been able to do that for quite a few years. It's built right into the tool as well. And then KNFD is the newer protocol. It's not necessarily as fast as Ethernet. So yeah, definitely if you're worried about speed and all that, we got you covered no matter what scanner you got for Snap-on. So, all right, so that's Zoom. Let's see, can a live diagnostic be done while running the engine? I'm not sure what you are referring to there, Sergio. You can definitely go and collect data and all that while the engine's running. Most times with a code scan, the manufacturer recommends that the key is off, but there's some manufacturers where you can do it with the key running. So it just kind of depends on the manufacturer if you're thinking codes. All right, let's see. Let's look on YouTube here. So we got. Let's see. Hello, Dan on YouTube. Let's see. Dano says difference between Apollo D8 and Solus Plus. So you're going to get the difference between the Apollo and the Solus, once again, is the Apollo adds on all the fast track intelligent diagnostic functionality that we have. And then as far as from the 8 to the Plus, you're going to get that newer chipset as well to allow you to do Ethernet right on the board, KNFD right on the board, and have that faster processor speed and the smoother scrolling. So that's your main difference in the hardware. The software, you're still going to get that intelligent diagnostics with the Apollo that you will not get on the Solus Plus. All right, let's see. Solus and a Triton, Jorge asks. So Solus and Triton, that's skipping over the Apollo. So you get the Solus is the base scan tool, and then the Apollo adds on fast track intelligent diagnostics. The Triton adds on to the Apollo's fast track intelligent diagnostics and also adds a 2-channel lab scope component test meter function to that as well. So if you want some sort of a component test function, that might be the way to go too. Best advice I can tell anybody with these things is just talk to your franchisee and see what they have. Get hands on with them. Hop on the truck and say, hey, can I take a look at that new Solus? Can I take a look at that Apollo? Let's see the differences and work through them, right? All right. Looks like we got some more. First diagnostic tool, happy so far. Excellent. Glad you're happy with it. I love the thing. It is so fast and easy to use. It's perfect for what it is. I love using it because it's nice and easy. Let's see. So Daniel asks, is there a subscription to pay for the SureTrack, or will it work as long as the tool is updated? So the second one. So as long as the tool is kept up to date, it will work on a 6-month plus 1 month basis. So you update, you get 6 months plus a 1 month grace period to update it again. The updates come out every 6 months like clockwork. So as long as you keep it up to date, yep, definitely it doesn't go away. It's going to stay on the tool. The other thing though, with a subscription is the subscription is less money overall over the course of the year for your 2 software updates. And you never have to worry about it being up to date because it updates to the tool. Right. So bunch of different ways to go. Like I said, the subscription is the easiest way to go about it. Let's see. Michael asks, will this presentation be available later? He arrived late. Yep, it's going to YouTube right now. So however long YouTube takes to process, a couple hours or so, it'll be readily available over there. And I'll give you the address for that in a minute here. I got a quick commercial I'm going to run at the end. Let's see. So Josh asks, just to clarify, the Apollo D8 and the Solus Plus have the same processor? No. The Solus Plus would have a newer updated processor in there because it's 3-4 years newer. I forget when the D8 came out, but it's a few years newer. So of course technology has progressed since then. So that's where you see the speed and going between screens, right? It's going to be a lot in that processor speed. All right. Looks like we're doing all right here. Okay, so let's go back over here. All right, so hold on. I will get back to those questions here in a second. Let's talk about some other stuff. How about training, right? So I do a lot of training. My friend Keith also does a lot of training in our diagnostics training department here. You have a wealth of training available to you whenever you want, and it's all free. Just takes a little bit of time out of your day. So we do have free on-tool training. As we said, it's built right into the tool. You go into that little hat right there. It looks like a graduation hat. You click on that. There's videos right in there to teach you how to do setup functions on the tool. There's also self-paced training available on the website. So the Solus Plus has, I believe, 9 different modules that'll walk you through all the different buttons and the functions of the tool. They're like 3 to 5 minutes long. The YouTube channel, of course, has a wealth of information there. The self-paced videos are there. My videos that I do there, this live stream will be there as well. I do industry topic training every Tuesday, and my buddy Keith does platform-specific training every Wednesday and Thursday. So speaking of that, my sessions are at 6 and 9 Eastern, 5 and 8 Central, 3 and 6 Pacific. So I do 2 sessions every Tuesday. They're about 30, 40 minutes long, and it's on a topic. So ADOS, how about why do we need experience-based information like SureTrack? How does that help us? I just did one on the basics of codes. Next week, I'm doing one on OBD2. I'm starting a 2-part series on OBD2. So it's just going to be some sort of industry-specific topic for about half an hour, 40 minutes or so. And then Keith does a much longer format on the tool. So he does Wednesday is on Zeus Plus, and then Thursday is going to be on your Apollo and Triton series. Also, Solus users could get something out of that as well. It's going to be a lot of setup functions. Let's set up your Wi-Fi. Let's set up your Snap-on Cloud. Talk about security link as well. And then he goes through code to completion on the tool. And then the second half of those classes, because the Zeus and the Triton have scope, he goes through the scope and meters functions on the tools as well. So it's a very thorough class, definitely worth checking out there as well. All right, got some more questions here before I go. Let's see. So Lacey says, on European and Asian shop talk repairs are limited information. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maybe you're in a different country. Do we know what shop talk is? Or maybe that's something else. Or maybe it's an autocorrect. Could be an autocorrect talking about SureTrack. So if you're talking SureTrack, the information is going to be based on what cars are breaking and how are they breaking. If you get that one super rare egg that never has been seen before out there, then there's not necessarily going to be as much help there as it would be something that's super common on a vehicle. So if that's what you're talking about, then that might be why. Let's see. And then Josh said, I missed the answer to my first question. Are they phasing out the Solus? No, they are not. This is the new Solus Plus. It just came out. So no, the name's not going anywhere. The tool itself isn't going anywhere. I mean, if you're talking about the original Solus, that thing's been phased out for many years. We haven't been able to update those for a while. The latest Solus that is not able to be updated is the Solus Ultra that came out in 2011. So that's what, 12 years we supported that, or 10, 12 years till we stopped updating it. So really it's just a matter of hardware. Can the hardware handle it? The Solus Ultra doesn't have Wi-Fi, so you wouldn't be able to even connect to Chryslers or Fords right now. So that's kind of why we got to the point of phasing that out. Let's see. And Sergio says, I like the email with all the suggestions on the fix. That's nice. Carson asks, does it have TPMS capabilities? Yes, all of our scan tools have TPMS capabilities. You may need a second tool in order to activate the sensor. Actually, Carson, you're in class this week, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. They're actually going to go through that tomorrow. But yes, if you have a TPMS 4, TPMS 5, TPMS 3, TPMS 2, you're able to activate the sensors, and that's really what you need that for, and it works in conjunction with the scan tool. The scan tool has all the functions you need on TPMS as well. All right. So with that, I think that's everybody. Oh, I got another question. I keep saying I'm done. I should just not say I'm done. Yes. So Michael asked, in order to get a new Solus Plus, do I need to see my dealer or franchisee? Yes, you do. Only available through a Snap-on representative. So if you have a franchisee, that's who you want to go talk to, because they are available now, ready to go. Hopefully they'll have one. They have been selling quite well. So, all right. Now I think we're good. I think we answered all. Oh, let me just double check on YouTube real quick. Let's see. Dan asks, can the scope tools be standalone since you remove them from the Varus and the Zeus? So no, it only works with that particular tool. So just so you know, works with that particular tool. All right. Let's see what we got. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. With that, that'll conclude our time here. I appreciate everybody with your questions and comments. Hopefully, I answered everybody the best I could. Hopefully, you learned a little bit more about what the Solus Plus can do and how it can help you and how fast it is. My goodness, that is a fast scan tool in our world. Time's money, as they always say, right? So definitely appreciate taking a little bit of time out of your evening, spend a little bit of time with me. Hopefully, we'll see you on one of our other training sessions that we have available. With that, enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a nice weekend. We'll see you soon. Take care.